Happy Monday, YouTube. I hope you had a great day trading if you were able to trade today. I'm going to go over my best and worst trade this morning. It was on Lucid. I only traded Lucid and Plug this morning. They were really all I needed to look at. Normally, I was looking at Lucid and Neo because they both had a lot of volume, but once I saw Lucid making the move, that was really where I stayed. I did go make a few trades on Plug after I traded Lucid. Only a few. I was green on those, but they weren't really that great of a setup, so I'll go over a few trades that I made on Lucid. As always, if you guys do like the content, please feel free to subscribe and like the video. It really helps out the algorithms and helps other people notice the video. Alright, let's go have a look at the trades. Alright, here we are on Lucid in the 1 minute chart. Now, Lucid has been running up since last week. They were down in the 20s and I actually took them long and day traded. I really wish I would have taken like a 500 share or 1,000 share long and just let it sit overnight. Could have easily made a lot of profit just by a simple swing trade. But unfortunately, I don't really swing trade that much. But I do like day trading Lucid. It's been one of my favorites. It has taken my money a couple days, really just because of the price action. And I'm actually going to show you on this trade in this chart what's possible for Lucid and why it's kind of tricky sometimes at the beginning. So what we're going to see here is at the bell. Now again, as you notice the volume down here, it really wasn't really crazy in the pre-market on Lucid. Now it had gapped up and we had already seen that it was going to be a runner because it did have a lot of volume, but the volume wasn't where it was just going absolutely parabolic pre-market. So but it did have, I think, a couple million shares already traded pre-market, so it was on our scanner. I think all EVs were on our scanners this morning. So what we did here is, this was a combination of a breakout and also a VWAP trade. Now, normally I don't take VWAP trades this early. I would prefer for the trade to set up a few minutes later. But the big thing on this is, we had such a spike and a rip up to 40. And you guys know that's really a big number, and I'm going to highlight 40 on our chart here so everybody can see it. This is actually the $40 mark right here, and I'm going to scoot this line down. Now, this is what I was really looking at for Lucid. I was looking for a pullback, and this is exactly where the 40 was. I was looking for a pullback, but I wasn't expecting Lucid to run up this much. As you can see, the 1 minute, I mean, when it opened and closed, it formed an incredibly tight doji. It popped all the way down to 39.2 and all the way as high as 42. So we had $1 in 1 minute, and then it closed within 5 cents of where it opened. So that was how crazy the first minute on this candle was. Now, when the second candle popped up, it actually went down and it got right at the VWAP here, and this is where I took my entry right here. Now, having said this, this actually did pull back. This was my entry right here. I've traded this stock a couple times last week, and one of the big things about this stock is when it first starts trading, and you can even see it on this candle right here, this son of a gun will create huge wicks. I got wicked out last Friday, and it actually stopped my day. Like this one hit my max loss because I had taken a high day. It wicked down 70 cents, tapped the VWAP, and then ripped back up. And it stopped me out because I had to stop out at VWAP, and then it continued on up, and you know, that's where, you know, coulda, woulda, shoulda. So I knew that was going to be one of the possibilities. That's why I really didn't get too scared on this. I saw that it wasn't holding 40, and 40 was really a big level for me. I took my size right here, and it was basically a break for VWAP. I saw it pop down. Now, it was bouncing. This wasn't, again, this is where we opened, and then it moved down, and it was bouncing around, but it wasn't maintaining that price action. So the price action was dipping down. This was bearish. You could see it was bearish. This wasn't like a pop down and then a rip right back up. As you can see on this candle right here, where you have this massive wick, this is where you drop down and then it pops back up. It's like, oh, okay, it wicked down, but there were still some bulls trying to buy that up. This was not the case on here. You had people covering and stuff, and it was trying to be bought up, but it just could not maintain. So what happened is I went ahead and took the short right here as it crossed VWAP. And this was, let's go ahead and see, my entry was right around 39.59. I went ahead and took a partial just as it crossed the 200 EMA, just in case this thing was going to want to rip back over the VWAP, because Lucid is being very bullish. And I went ahead and popped a half. I took a partial and set my break even. So my break even was here. Honestly, this is one that I'm going to have to study also the price action on, because I could have got a lot more profits out of this if I would have just hit break even instead of taking a partial. Because you can see once it lost this, it came back up, tried to tap the VWAP one more time, but then it completely lost. I took another partial once it crossed at 39. That would have been a 60, so that's a 6-hour profit right there. I normally go by 10-cent increments when I go by R's. So that would have been a 6R, and then again, it completely lost these levels. This thing was so ridiculously bearish on these first candles. I took another partial out here at 38.53, so this was a good 12R move there. And then I took my final partial right here as it came back up to this 38.59 level. So that was definitely my biggest trade of the day. If I would have taken my normal size shares and just let this pop down, I could have easily hit my daily goal in one trade on Lucid. So that was definitely my best. Now, my worst trade was actually the next trade on Lucid. And you can see right here, it's as clear as day. I was too happy on Lucid. I saw it pull back. This is where I took my last, and then it started wicking down. I wasn't patient. I was going for, and you can see it if you step back, we have a bear flag forming. And you know, I wanted to continue the ride short. Now, what I did wrong was my entry. This is one of the things I have to work on. My entry was here. And it went down, and then it stopped me out at the 38.59 level. So that was my actual stop. I got out. I mean, I just got stopped out really quick. And I entered at 38.30, and that was a 3R loss right there. So that took away 3 of my 12R wins right here. So that automatically knocked me down. That was my worst trade of the day. And it was all about entry, because this stock did continue to go down. It wasn't a bad read. It was a bearish stock. But if you don't get the right entry, you turn into a hold and hope. It's a hold and hoper. Because all this thing had to do was bounce off right here. If you would have said, okay, I'm going to add into this position and try to average down, this thing could have easily bounced off the 38.59 level here and moved on up, and then you would have lost your ass. And that's what I'm not going to do. I'll just take the loss. So that was my worst trade of the day, guys. Horrible entry, and I was basically going for a low of day trade. I saw it move past this level too many times, and I said, okay, I'm going to go short. And it just wicked back up. And even if I wouldn't have stopped out here, I would have definitely stopped out when it wicked up here. I mean, that would have been like, there's no way I would have held. That'd have been like a 60 cent. That'd have been like a 6R loss. I wouldn't have held that long. I would have stopped out. Now, as you can see, I did get back in for a low of day. I re-entered as it came back down. This time, I got closer to this level where we were looking at. And then I was able to go ahead and hit this partial. Now, it did not wick up, but it did bounce back up and stop me out on a break even. But that's okay, because I was actually able to get a decent entry. Even though I got stopped out on the break even, I didn't lose any money. I actually made money on that trade because of the proper entry. The same read, the same setup, and we had exactly what we wanted, just a horrible, horrible entry. And it was basically not taking my time and letting the setup come to me. So that was my worst trade of the day, you guys. My best and worst trades. I did trade plug as well. I'm going to keep an eye on EV. EV is really hot this week, especially with all the charger infrastructure news that's coming out. So keep your eyes on this. Lucid right now has 121 million shares traded today. NEO has 52 million shares traded. Plug is at 44 million. So the EV sector is bonkers right now. I'm looking at it on my chart, and they're all crazy. I did talk about Neo in our video yesterday, that it was going to be volatile today, and it was. It pulled up, and it's well over 40 right now. So keep an eye on those stocks, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care.